see. Hey y'all, it is Becca. Alright, so we're getting ready in the garden. It's been a crazy week. We've had a bunch of people ask us to mow last minute and stuff, so we've been busy. But anywho, we still have tomorrow to finish prepping for the freeze that's coming. It's a hard freeze coming. It's going to be at least 20 degrees, they're thinking, possibly, for Thursday and Friday, possibly rolling into Saturday, and still possible freeze under 32 degrees on Sunday. So anywho, we have lots of stuff going on. Just grab whatever you have in your house. I mean, if you have extra sheets, I like to just make the beds with just the fitted sheets, and I save all the top sheets for our plants. So that's something you can always do when you buy those sets of sheets and you're like, I'm not a top sheet kind of person. Well, I save those for my plants. These were cotton bath mats. Sometimes I use these for certain plants. Whatever, like probably my pepper plants, I'll be wrapping some of these around. It's just a fuzzy cotton. There's no like rubber or anything like that. So they can get wet, but we're not expecting any rain. We already had rain, which is really good. So a really good tip for your garden is to make sure everything is watered in really well before freeze. It helps insulate your plants and your trees. And then now I've invested in the blanket. It is called the blanket from Amazon. It is a 10 by 20 frost cover. These are water resistant. They're still breathable. I have those hoops underneath that you can see to help tent this a little bit better. And then I just have bricks, rocks, whatever, covering up my herbs and kale. Actually, I have basil in here, so we'll kind of see what happens with that. So you can take cuttings of your basil, put it in water and bring it inside. You could take your pepper plants in if you've cut them back and made them if they're in smaller pots. Like I have a couple of smaller pots I might just bring in the house. This one's kind of heavy, so I might just use and wrap this around it. My bath mats. I'll be putting sheets on a couple of these things. Things that are not going to make it, those coleus, will have to get dug up and brought inside. My elephant ears, I've got some baby plants. I'm going to dig those out and bring those in a pot inside. I call it my deku tree, but it's actually a desert rose, so that is considered technically, I guess, like a succulent. Desert type of, it doesn't take freezes well. So anyway, we're going to take that inside. Prayer plant is coming inside. Purslane will freeze and regrow, but that one's a special one that Wayland got from somebody. It's like an orange flower, so we're going to just take that pot inside. You can take cuttings of your Hoya or take all of your Hoyas inside. That is also a succulent. They don't do well with freezes. These Mexican petunias will take a freeze and come back. Lemon grass will not take a freeze. That's got to come inside. Our pumpkin vine will die. That's okay. These are Datura trumpet flowers. I'm not even going to worry about them. I have tons of seedlings, tons of seeds, and they will just keep regrowing, so I won't worry about that. Now, I was telling my friend Ashlyn, these were couch covers and chair covers I got from Dee Dee's Discount. Now, I didn't purposely go out and buy them to cover plants. We had them for a previous couch that our dog kept scratching at. The dog kind of gnawed at these a little bit, whatever. So anywho, I just kept them. They're quilted. I think the couch one might have been $7 or $10, and the chair one might have been about $5. And so I just have my netting underneath. And then these are my hoops. You don't have to have the hoops, but I did purchase hoops this year. These are just clothespins, bricks, and I just janky put it together, cover up my collard seedlings. They're pretty little, so they probably would freeze, and I don't want them to. Grapevine should be fine. Rose of Sharon can take a freeze and come back, because they grow up north. If you have aloe, they'll get mushy and really gross, so I'm going to pull out a few babies. Just take them inside. You don't even have to pot them. Just pull out some baby plants, put them aside on a tray or something like that, and then you can replant them. so I won't even worry about covering those up. Pomegranates can take a freeze. I probably will wrap some bubble wrap around the base though. And I think we're going to get some leaves from a friend tomorrow. And maybe have some bagged leaves. Another Rose of Sharon. Plantain. There's tons of seeds in there. It'll come back. I'm not going to worry about it. This is my avocado fruit tree. So I've double wrapped. These are bubble mailers from the post office. They're self-sealing. So I've done a double layer. So I've wrapped it up the stem, and then I've wrapped it again. And then each branch that branched out, I wrap those as well. Because this is kind of a lollipop. 10-foot blanket that has the drawstring cord. I've only found them on Amazon. I forget how much they were. Maybe $15 each. It's the 10-foot one. It was really hard to get it in this year, but I tucked them inside and did the best I could. The avocado tree has blossoms on it because it thought it was spring, like a lot of other people's fruit trees. So we'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep it covered until probably we'll see what happens with the freeze. Maybe Sunday we could uncover it and see what happens. So, I might cook up a pumpkin for the chickens. Let me see. Flippy flip. Let's go out back. So, I'm not even going to worry about the tomato plants. I did take some cuttings and just put them in water in a glass so they can root. This is kind of a mystery tomato plant, but it looks really healthy. And when I pulled it up, it didn't have any kind of damage to the roots. So, I'm hoping that one will be a good one. It looked like there was damage to a lot of the other tomato plants that I had. Well, come outside, Kara. Come on, monkey. They have root knot nematodes. Trash already came, so I can't show you. I threw them all out, so what I did is I pulled them up. My loquat tree can take a freeze. I'm not even going to worry about covering it. Whatever happens, happens. But we did see these things survive the polar freeze that we had last year. Fig trees do not need covering. So pak choi will probably freeze, so I'm going to put frost cover here. I was told that these lilies won't freeze. I might just throw a towel on top. We'll see. That's going to get a frost cover. Pak choi. There's actually a volunteer tomato plant in here, so who knows, he might make it. And then here's our broccoli. I'm going to put a frost cover on here as well. Now, if we were getting a light freeze, I wouldn't worry about it, but we are supposed to get a hard freeze, which means you're going to have burning, and if you already have like broccoli heads starting to form, it's going to affect the flavor and taste. So I would definitely try to put at least sheets. If you have any kind of fuzzy blankets or quilted blankets, go hit up the Goodwill, Salvation Army. You got some friends that maybe have some extra blankets you can toss on your plants. Just kind of ask around. Use whatever you have. That's what I've done for years here. I've just tossed towels and whatever happens, happens. So, again, I've got pepper plant will freeze. I have to take that in the house. Moringa trees will freeze. I'm going to take those seedlings in the house. Any kind of citrus tree will freeze and not make fruit properly again, so you either need to cover it and hope that it doesn't freeze below the grass, or cart that into your garage or into your house. So we're going to try and shuffle those into the house. We've got the Meyer lemon, which has blossoms on it, and we've got the key lime, which it put on a whole bunch of new key limes here. And it's got blossoms on it over there. Thinks it's springtime, but y'all, it's just too early. So anywho, we're going to cart those in the house. And then I've got Swiss chard growing all in this makeshift little bed here. So I moved my smaller hoops here, and I'm going to put frost cover over that whole row. Because those will probably... they'll be affected by a hard freeze, so we're going to cover them up. And what we normally just do for our banana trees, now there's all kinds of chaos happening here, don't mind that. There's lots of compost, oak leaves, whatever we have piled up in here. Even if your moringa tree freezes, if you've saved the seed pods, it'll just grow back again. So don't worry about your moringa tree. Just take your seed pods in. And then we've got this one bunch of ice cream bananas up here. And we're going to harvest those tomorrow and see if they're any good. Now, technically, I would probably leave them on until February to keep getting bigger and ripen. But they will not take a freeze. So we'll see what happens. That's my only bunch that's happening. And then if there's any kind of freeze damage, we'll just cut these back later on, and then they'll just regrow from wherever you've cut them. I've got succulents and other potted things in the garage. I've got a cranberry hibiscus here. These make like seed pods, and so they'll just regrow back from seed. So I'm not even going to cover them or worry about them. I've got seeds inside, I think, too, and we can just regrow it. So that probably needs to go in the garage. Some kind of amaryllis, I think that is. Vermilia needs to go in the garage. That'll freeze. Okra needs to go in the garage. I'm going to put some kind of towels over our cilantro. And this bed here, you can tell, I've already pulled out the tomato plants. They had some root knot nematodes issues. And I harvested all the tomatoes, and they're going to ripen inside. There was 2 tomato plants still doing good. So I'm going to try wrapping a sheet around them and clipping some clothespins around it and see if they don't make it, they don't make it. I'm not going to worry about it. And I've got some more cilantro here. I'll put some towels on. I will probably just wrap towels around these tomato plants and clip them on with clothespins. We'll see what happens. They're just volunteer tomatoes. I don't even know what they are, but, we'll try and keep them going. So we'll see what happens. And they're just gnawing on my darn cauliflower plant. This happened today, y'all. Look at that. The birds were hungry, knowing there's a freeze coming. I just need to move it into the hoop house with the other one. And then mums can take a freeze. You can just put a towel on them if you want. So can dianthus. Dianthus can take a freeze. I think I left those uncovered in the freeze last year, and they're still coming back. So dianthus you don't have to worry about. That's why I buy them, because they're really cold hardy. And my goji berry back here does not need to be covered because it grows in the Himalaya mountains. It loves snow and freezes. It'll be fine. And got a pepper plant here I need to put in the garage or the house. Another pepper plant here, probably in the garage, just too heavy. And what do we got going on over here? We got Rose of Sharon, another Rose of Sharon. They can take a freeze. Not going to cover them. Not going to worry about them. Cranberry hibiscus will grow back from the seed pods. Not going to worry about it. My carrot seeds are over here. I have 2 beds. And so I watered them real good the past few days. I've been checking on them. They have not sprouted yet, maybe because they're pelletized. So anywho, we're going to cover them with some frost cover. If they start to sprout and then it freezes, I've killed my carrots. If they're already up and established, I would probably just cover them with some sheets or blankets if there was a real hard freeze, just so they, don't get damaged and can keep growing. But since these haven't even popped up yet, I don't want them to sprout and then get frozen and die. So, since I just planted all this. So anywho, I have a couple of hoopy things that I got going over there. And this is the frost blanket. It is the heavier version. It's water resistant. It's 10 by 20. I think they're about $17 on Amazon. That's business pricing. I think $17.99 this year. Might have got them even for like $15 last year. So I only bought a couple more, and I need to cover the pak choy, kale, and collards in the garden, as well as the broccoli little patch there. So anywho, we're gonna cover what we can and do what we can. Sheets, rocks, and just extra bricks that we've picked up for free here and there. And we've wrapped our pipes over there. We wrapped our pipes over there. My understanding is the cast iron plants will take a freeze. I might put a couple in the garage tomorrow. And then our worm bin here. Worms don't like freezes, so I need to empty out the bottom wormy juice area and then bring my worms in so they don't freeze. Because it'll just be too cold for them. So that's kind of why I have that little system, so I can keep my worms going, and I'll bring those inside. And yeah, there's the swamp, there's the garden, and that's what we're doing to prepare for a hard freeze here in South Texas. And if you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below. If I don't answer them, somebody else might be able to answer them. But anything that's like a succulent or citrus cannot take freezes. They need to be covered or put inside to a garage or house or things like that, or take cuttings, or just keep like your citrus trees in a smaller medium pot and make sure you can bring them in each year. We've seen people grow them in like a medium-sized pot and have plenty of fruit on them. So if you're just doing it for yourself, and then we already lost our Meyer lemon and our key lime during the hard freeze last year. And had I known that, and we also lost our orange tree. We lost several orange trees. Had I known that, we would have definitely potted up our Meyer lemon and key lime in a pot to begin with. But the house came with an orange tree that was established, and then it got some kind of disease, and then, but yeah, it didn't make it. And then I'm pretty sure the ones that Wayland had out in Bay City, Midfield area, I'm pretty sure those didn't make it either. It was a really hard freeze out there. So yeah, that's what we're doing. It's like hashtag repeat, let's not do this. But Wayland went under the house and he wrapped the pipes. And we do, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Well, he's got boards here to cover up underneath the house because we have a pier and beam. So he's got boards that he's put along the backside here. And then we have openings on this side too that we put bags of leaves. That helps. And he put, let me just show you. We've got compost. We locked this. Anywho, kind of sneaky peeky around here. All right, there we go. So through here, there's like bags of compost that's fairly warm. He filled up all those bags today and stuffed them to fill in the gap of our pier and beam. And we're gonna put bags of leaves there tomorrow as well. So, because that's where a lot of the wind comes in, and keep your under your sinks open, and then run your water. So we had the water running last year. It was more than just a trickle. We had it like a nice little stream going. And then what happened during the freeze last year was there was some damage to the water pipe system that they have here in Corpus on Staples. And it busted. So the water pressure dropped dramatically, and they let everybody know. And I got up at like 2 a.m. or something like that, and I put our water on full blast, and full blast was barely a drop trickling out here and there because the water pressure was so low because of the pipes bursting on Staples Street. So I think our pipes froze and busted because of that event that happened. And so because of that, our pipes froze and busted at like 4 something in the morning. We heard this boom and a gush, and we had water gushing down the street and down the driveway. And at the time, we did not have a gate to the alley to shut off the water, and neither did we have the turnkey to shut it off. So our neighbor is a plumber, and God bless him. Hey, Rick. We were knocking on his door as a few other neighbors too, and he had a key, and he helped go out his gate and shut off our water. Probably took a little while, because it was stuck, and he was banging and busting on it. So, anywho, And then y'all know the situation that happened. There was no pipes available, no plumbing parts available, and they couldn't get plumbing parts. So we went 2 to 3 months without any running water at our house last year. That was not fun. And neighbors were helping me try to keep our garden going by every morning I was hauling water in a garden cart with those like big, what are those, 5-gallon jugs of water. We were filling them up at neighbors, bringing them back, making sure the water, there was water for the dog, water for the chickens, because they kept dumping their water every day because it was freezing. And then, we'd wash the dishes by hand. And then we went on to YouTube and found out how to make an off-grid shower. So we did that with a 5-gallon bucket, and we bought we made a battery box by buying a marine box from Academy, and then we bought a 12 volt battery, and we bought a bunch of stuff from the YouTube video, put it together, and it was a RV pump or something like that. I don't know what it was. It was a bunch of stuff. And so we put together a off-grid shower. We would heat up a hot kettle of water on our propane tanks on the outdoor Carolina cooker. It's a cast iron cooker that you hook up to your propane tanks and you can cook on. So we have that if we lose power and stuff like that, which we didn't. So we were able to heat up water that way, because I don't know, or we're heating it up in the house. But that's how we took a shower. So we'd put water in the 5-gallon bucket, and then put like a hot kettle of boiling water in, and it made it to be about like 115 degrees was a good temperature to have an off-grid shower. And we did that every day. And then we also got those hand pumps for the 5-gallon water bottles, so we could like wash our hands and things like that. And I was doing dishes by hand, and we did all that for like 3 months because we were really busy with the lawns, and we couldn't get plumbing parts. You'd have to go wait in line, and then they wouldn't let you down the aisles to go see what they had. So you didn't even know if they had parts. They couldn't tell you if they had parts. So you waited in line at Home Depot and Lowe's, and it was probably like an hour or more wait every day. And then you go look down the aisle, and they either had it or they didn't. It was really frustrating. They didn't allow you to purchase them online and pick them up, which was real on them. That just sucked. So I think it was like 3 months later, we were able to finally get parts for our plumbing. And then the neighbor in Wayland went and cut the lines and all that, and we put our pipes together, and then our water heater wouldn't start. So then we called the home warranty. So we had American Home Shield, and so you pay a service fee. They came out, and then I totally forgot the hot water heater was not to code when we bought the house, so they would not cover it being to code, but they would cover a water heater. So we got the water heater, but it was like over maybe $1,200 or something like that to get it to code, and somebody had to come out and do that because of whatever, it was old, janky. It's a 1950s little house. So we did all that last year, and we don't want to go through any of that stuff again. So hopefully everything we're doing is good, and the freeze won't be so bad, and hopefully no pipes burst. And then, so I've just been investing in the garden a little bit each year. Everyone's been super helpful and buying from our little farm stand. And so this was like my investments this year was the hoops, the garden netting, and a little bit more of the frost cover to make it easier to keep things going, because we don't get a freeze for that long. It's like for 2 days, 1 day, 4 days, but it seems to be happening more often now that we're down here. And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy weather everywhere, so we're just trying to be a little bit more prepared each season. And so, hey Kiara, you want to go play ball? She's ready to go play ball. So that's it. That's the news. That's what's going on. And so that's what we're doing for the garden. If you have questions or comments about specific types of plants or veggies that you need covered or whatever, if you can take a cutting, I would just take a cutting and bring it inside. Don't worry about covering it. You can just replant it. It's really easy. Kiara, come here. So that's it. See you guys.